Well, if you look at Infosys buyback, the buyback price has been set around 1800 rupees, which is at a premium of 19% compared to the current market price. The buyback size is 18,000 crore rupees, which is the biggest ever buyback that the company has announced, and much more than what the street was anticipating, and also double of the earlier two buybacks that the company has done. The earlier two buybacks were in the range of around 9,200 to 9,300 crore rupees. The record date is yet to be announced, but given the past history that we have seen, this could take at least 3 to 4 months for the buyback to complete. Now, if you look at the buyback size, it's 2.4% of the equity which the company is looking to buy back. Now, this number is not the highest because in 2017, via tender route, the company had bought back around 4.9% of the equity. And now, if you look at the entitlement, as I was mentioning, based on the historical process, it should take at least 3 to 4 months from here for the buyback process to complete. Now, if you look at the entitlement or the acceptance ratio, this is for every 100 shares that a company that an investor is applying for buyback, 5 shares minimum will be bought back. So what is this acceptance ratio? This acceptance ratio is how many shares will actually be bought back by the company when applied for. So if any investor who's holding shares in Infosys applies for around 100 shares for buyback, at least 5 shares will be bought back by the company. Now, this is the minimum number that we are giving. This number could be higher depending on how many people actually participate in this buyback. Now, the interesting part here is what's in it for the retail shareholders. Now, as per the SEBI regulation, 15% of the buyback needs to be reserved for retail shareholders. So, around 2,700 crore amount has been reserved for retail shareholders. Now, who are retail shareholders? Those who are holding shares of value of less than 2 lakh rupees. So, at 1510, which is the current market price, that is around 132 shares. So, anyone who's holding less than 132 shares will be eligible will be a retail shareholder and will participate in this quota that is reserved for them. Now, higher retail participation will lead to lower acceptance ratio as we had established earlier, but at least 5 shares will be bought back. So the whole point of giving this fact is that if any investor who's looking to buy Infosys shares today, for them the gains will be limited, because in the past buybacks we have seen that the retail participation has always been higher for Infosys buyback. So even if they buy shares today at 1510, then their gains will be quite limited, because if just out of 100 shares, 5 shares are accepted in this buyback, then their gains will be limited to just 1% odd. And if at 10% is the acceptance ratio, which is double of what the minimum amount is, then also their gains will be around 2% odd. At 20% acceptance ratio, the gains will be around 4% odd. And if the number even goes as high as 50% acceptance ratio, then also the gains will be limited to just 9.5%. Obviously, this buyback is quite good for the shareholders who are holding the shares for quite a long time, but any investor who's looking for an arbitrage opportunity at this point of time and looking to buy Infosys shares, the gains will be limited. At 50% acceptance ratio, the gains are just at around 10% for any shareholder.